the more they go up.
Yep, that's
Maybe
right.
we need to say some more numbers for Auckland.
And Auckland bolts are on 3. Start of the 7th jam. Separate pack. Stable. Not stable, stagnant, but now moving. There we go. Number 9. That is Irish Upon a Star. Through with lead jam status. Smacking up against a couple of jammers. Makes fairly light work of it. There was certainly some, I'd say, hefty impact in there, but fairly swiftly navigated out of.
We also have Baker, who has taken a second star pass, consecutive jams. Captain of the team, beautiful footwork. Smooth work on the outside lines.
And during a break, maybe I'll read some of these skaters.
Yeah, maybe for the next. We do have a timeout.
Half-time. Oh.
And let's run through those teams.
Great. Well, for Varsity Derby League Dishonour Rollers, we've got Puss Puss, White Russian, Dom, Spanky, Eduhater, Sax Bum, A Whole Lot of Trouble, Ginger Ale, D's Nuts, Hot Blocks, Tez, Reaper, and Irish Upon a Star. And I will continue. So for the bolts at Auckland Roller Derby League, we've got Paradigm Stretch, Benedicta, Venus Thigh Trap. Is that this bit? Yeah, anyway, moving on. Grim Scary Tales, Steve, McDonald, Baker, Terra Satana, MC Slammer, Resident Evil, Wheezy, and Mackenzie.
And it's wonderful to have a team come out here from Auckland. It is quite a hike, and you don't hike to get here, so there's a bit of work to be done to get your team out here. I feel like I see Auckland roller derby more often than I see my family.
It's a good way to be, no? Depends on your family.
Depends who's listening.
I love you, Mum. It's fine. My mum's not listening. She doesn't know what I do in my downtime.
Look at those wonderful officials out there. We do love our officials in roller derby. They keep us safe, and they blow a fine whistle. There we go. What a scrum on the start. Who's going to pop out the front? Looks pretty good for Auckland. Lead jammer, and that looks like we have Mackenzie. 2 leads in the game so far from Mackenzie. Cut track penalty issued for D's Nuts. So it looks like this is really time for Auckland to really rack up those points. Always interesting to see how teams play for power jams, whether they run, whether they wait, who sets it up. That looks like a lovely unit strike from Auckland. Varsity are very good at their recovery though, and resetting on those lines to catch some one-on-one blocking just before their teammates can come back to them. And we have lost a couple of Varsity blockers in there, so that should be a little bit easier for Auckland to make some headway on the points.
Yeah, this is a really lopsided pack right now. It's a fantastic opportunity. See if they can capitalise. Ooh, but some great blocking there from number 420, Hot Blocks. And slicing the jammer out to the outfield.
Great work from D's Nuts, who is now out of the pack. And a solid call-off from Mackenzie. It's a terrific jam.
I think we got a fairly strong jam there from Auckland on the points. I'm not going to say the number because it might go up. But it says 10 right now. There might have been a couple extra at the end. Anyway, 10 points to 33. Auckland slowly catching up very early with 20 minutes left on the clock in this first jam. As we'd like to say, anybody's game.
Anybody's game.
Anybody's game.
Though not yours or mine.
No, but ours collectively. Derbies.
Roller derby.
Derby for everybody.
Roller derby is always the winner.
Roller derby is the winner. Roller derby is an amazing thing, and I am grateful for roller derby in my life, despite not being here on a regular basis anymore.
You're always a part of roller derby, my friend.
In fact, I should probably hit up Varsity while they're here and let them know I'll be nearby soon.
Wonderful.
Maybe I can MC with them. Yeah. That's right. New South Wales coming at ya.
Varsity are from Canberra.
I know, but it's
It's a big
like
state.
ACT. I'm not that far away. I'm going to be halfway between Canberra and Sydney. So, you know.
Also, happy to continue this conversation.
Outside, because the people on the stream may or may not care about what we're talking about.
The answer is they don't, and at least 7 people have said that while we're talking. So, switching back over to the game for a moment, I did some terrible research just before, and I have not been able to track a game that these two teams have played each other.
Oh.
So I was not able to sort of come up with a bit of a predictor. Although I have seen Varsity play in the last tournament and loved their work. They've got a really, really powerful blocking lineup, and Dom out there is a real powerhouse jammer. What a drive and what a push. They do have some diversity in their jamming lineup as well. Successful Dom out the front with lead. And Grim Scary Tales out there in opposition. Auckland also out of the pack though. So I'm expecting it'll be, bit of a hit it and quit it. So 0 to Auckland, and I think that'll be 2 in the air for Varsity Rollers.
Good eyes. Very nice. As the game rolls on, we get more skaters rolling in, getting ready for the next game. I believe you will be involved in the next game, Sim?
I certainly will be.
So we've got a few games on today. We've got Northside Rollers here, South Sea Roller Derby.
Adelaide B.
Adelaide.
And the VICs from VRDL.
Convict City Rollers. Anyway, back on track. We've got 2 sort of separate defensive blocks, and just as I say that, we've got a jammer popping out the top. That's number 9, Irish upon a star, and the Auckland pivot being sent to the box.
Lovely tripod work by Auckland, holding the opposition jammer back. 4D, Varsity on their 4D, very, very powerful in holding jammers.
And Mackenzie holding the jammer helmet cover in her hand, ready for a star pass, but not getting to the point of completion.
There's a couple of ways teams are playing at the moment. I'm watching these teams out here. Varsity have more of a 4D approach from the start and a catch and send.
Catch and send?
Yeah, so catch and send is when you've got your tripod doing the work and like a fourth player being a bit of a guardian and then waiting until you've secured the jammer, and then that person will go and play offense.
Okay. Catch the jammer, send the offense.
Catch them first. Particularly the case for really agile jammers. When you've got really agile jammers that will really easily take an edge or a line. Catching first, we might need a few more bodies on the track to be able to stop those lines and shut that down.
Yep.
Unfortunately, Varsity Jammer has just gone to the box for a cut, and Auckland are out there with time to be able to make the most of these points. We did have a star pass that happened, and we do have Mackenzie out there. Nope. Yes, Mackenzie. No, sorry, my bad. Baker, pivot.
It's the one that smiles as they're coming through the pack. Finds an outside line, steps through a couple of little steps.
Watch out for that side serve.
They're out, yeah.
Baker needs about 3 centimetres to get through on the line. I don't think their wheels even touch the ground.
I think you're quite right.
Side
there it is
serve,
again.
Run.
Not
run
quite
back.
though.
Side serve, run.
Yeah,
beautiful
getting
technique.
Popped
Very
out.
successful. 4D though for Varsity. You really need that double tap to get this jammer out. that is a very successful jam. 16 points.
Wow. Awesome. So that's 38-31 now, with Varsity still in the lead, but only by 7 points now instead of what was about 20 points or 25 points previously.
So Varsity need to certainly watch out for those powerless jams. When you have 4 blockers on the track, really locking down and making that plan. But Auckland are good at breaking up that 4D, and those jammers are so good at having their own independence in getting through. The Auckland jammers on a power jam don't seem to need a great deal of offense. And when you've got a really strong pivot, you can't mess with that. And Dom has just gone to the box for a back block on 3-6, so that's a back block on Mackenzie. That initial pass has already happened for Auckland, and they are now scoring. So once again, this is second jam in a row. We've had a powerless jam to Varsity, and that will make a difference to their score.
And up the inside of the apex for Grimm. So Grimm's around now for their second scoring pass in a powerful situation. Dom back on track now, evening the numbers on track. Making pretty light work of the front 2 blockers. Very, what's that word when you're quick at moving on your feet? They're
agile.
Agile. Adept? Agile. Good one. Agile's a good one. Ooh.
Tricky one, though. Dom's out the front. What a powerhouse. And there is no lead, so we still have 30 seconds on the clock for the jam, and Dom is now also racking up those points. Has been a star pass again. Over to Baker. Baker will be playing every jam and will be pivoting and taking star passes for every jam, and will be blocking in every jam, and will be fit enough to do all of that.
Really? Whoa.
I don't know that for sure. Yeah. I'm absolutely making it up.
Absolutely, yes.
But there has been quite a presence on the track so far.
Yep.
Sort of lose track of it. Call a timeout. They've indicated that very clearly on the track to their skaters. It was a really powerful jam, considering when you have a jammer go to the box to still come back and score 16 points in the jam. Auckland were able to capitalise with their own 7 points.
Oh, wow. So that's Dom getting a penalty, going to the box, coming back and still scoring 4 laps.
Correct.
Wow. Impressive. So, a few rule reviews since I've been here. I know the last time I had a microphone in front of my face, I discovered a rule change, which is no more jammer lap points. So that's a change that definitely will change scoreboards.
There are a lot of challenges.
Hopefully not games.
So many challenges in calling for jammer lap points. If it's a textbook pass, no worries. We always understood those points. But if you have to assess when the jammer returned from the box, which scoring pass, which is now called a scoring trip, which pass
scoring
they
trip.
were on.
Okay, thank you.
And because we use language to talk about who they passed as a skater. And when we start talking about trips, we're talking about the journey around the track.
The lap of the track, okay.
Correct. So there's a lot of refs out there right now that have time in their brain to think of other things without having jammer lap points. And training new refs becomes a lot easier.
I did always find it difficult to attribute. I did a tiny bit of jam reffing, and all credit to refs out there because it's very challenging. Yeah, the jammer lap point was difficult to keep track of.
And timeout over. We have a full complement of blockers on the track and jammers. We have 5-on-5, and both teams are playing 4D. And now that's the catch and send that you can see Varsity working on. So they've established that they've caught the Auckland jammer and they've sent up their offense player.
So that was Spanky wearing the pivot that floated up from defence to offense.
Watch out for Terra. What a fierce blocker Terra is. 666 pivot for Auckland right now. Terrific one-on-one blocker as well. And Varsity have called it off. Hit it and quit it. 4 points. Beautifully done. Chip away. It was Varsity's timeout. I'm curious as to what the coach was saying in that time. Being a coach myself.
Yep.
I don't always know what I'm about to say, just that there's something that needs to happen. And let's do that thing that I'm about to say.
Yep. It's very inspiring.
Yeah, it's
I
an
can
inspiring
imagine.
job that I have in my team.
Well, I do understand that you have a very inspiring role, that you are an inspiring person. Back to the track.
Great edge work by Dee's Nuts in getting out away from that 4D. Jammer did take the star off for Auckland. This is Paradigm Stretch. And the distraction of taking the star off can be just enough to sort of interrupt someone's rhythm somewhere along the way to get out.
Just to split the pack or split the blockers, divert attention.
Auckland run back in the pack, and Dee's out the front again.
Yep. Gets knocked down, gets straight back up and keeps going.
Another 4 in the sky for Varsity, and Auckland working their way through the pack. They have done their initial loads, so they are on a scoring pass. Unfortunately, there's a bit of lane 4 work happening for the Auckland Jammer, which means that hit out and run back is quite possible for Varsity. And there has been a pass now, and the blockers are very aware of that and have switched their focus straight over to Baker. Beautiful positioning from those blockers. You'll notice that when there are 2 blockers at the front, to avoid that multiplayer block, their hands are down. The blockers are often blocking each other and putting the pressure on each other as much as with the jammer, to make sure that their arms and hands are out of the way, to make sure that they're not getting a direction penalty by keeping those skates moving forward.
I noticed that in that one. They were very much physically pushed into each other or hitting into each other. Score check. We've got Varsity on 70 points and Auckland on 40. 10 minutes left in this first half, I should say. Both teams, I'd say, are very well warmed up right now. And Varsity started with a lead at the beginning and they've pulled away again. Dom, in this case, pulling away as the jammer. And Mackenzie getting a smack to the outside, getting straight back up.
Mackenzie took quite a hit from one of those Varsity blockers just then and got up just as if it was Tuesday. You know?
Yeah, it ain't no thing.
Yeah.
I think, you learn to take the hit and you learn to fall down and take it well, and rather than impact with your entire body, you absorb.
And when you are a jammer in particular, you're planning on what you're about to do. What's next? You haven't hit the ground yet, and you're planning your re-entry.
Yeah. All right, a squishy pack over the far side. Well, the front side of the track, really. That moment right there is one of my favourite moments in roller derby, when you have a jammer, and at the moment we've got Baker out there, and Baker was very close to performing a cut track penalty. However, there's that moment where even though a skater has returned fully inbounds, they can, in their very next heartbeat in regaining balance, if their next move is to yield and return, it's not a cut. And years ago, the science was not on our side, because if we happened to come fully inbounds before regaining our balance, we would be issued with a cut track penalty. And that is the most amazing change. It just keeps the game flowing and it keeps skaters on track, and you get to make a decision about what you do. If you have the chance to go, I think I went out, you can yield. If you have the chance to even absolutely no. Yeah, that was a big change as well to the rules, which I agree. It just changed things massively, because there were those times where you were trying to get out and you were trying to do the right thing, And now this gives you the opportunity to do that and to avoid that penalty.
There's so much science involved in that. You know, your body weight is moving in a particular direction, and for you to finish that action, you need to be ready to be able to return to the track. But if you happen to be fully in bounds, it was no good. And right now we have a timeout called by Auckland. So we have an 82-40 game. That was a strong jam from Varsity. We have a zebra huddle in the middle. Finally a chance for a drink, bit of a rest. And all the teams will take this opportunity. It doesn't matter which team calls a timeout. Usually both teams use that timeout in the same kind of way. And every now and then you hope that another team will call a timeout so that you don't have to use yours.
So how many do you get these days? 1 a half?
3 timeouts per game.
3 per game.
You also have 2 official reviews. They are divided off into the halves. So you have an official review in the first period and the second period. And if you win that, then you retain your official review.
So if you use it in the first half and then you retain it because you've won it, do you get 2 in the second? No.
You do not.
No, didn't think so.
You can use your official review as a timeout though, and you declare that, and then it takes the role of a timeout.
Which is also a change in the rules, because you used to have to come up with a question to be officially reviewed.
Correct. And Varsity are out with lead.
You're fine.
But no need to ask those questions anymore.
Oh,
and
there's a lot
that moment when a skater falls on the track and everyone stops to make sure they're okay. And we have a penalty issued to D's Nuts, which means that we have Mackenzie out on the track. There is no lead jammer though, and this will go for a full 2 minutes. And we've just had a really beautiful pass there by Mackenzie, 4 points. We have 3 Varsity blockers on track, so we are without a jammer and a blocker. But their tripod work is good, but it is no trick for Tara. Tara can just go in there from Auckland and take out a whole tripod.
Absolutely, yeah,
Tara
just
can
coming
take him out for dinner.
I'm sure everybody will like that tomorrow night at the after party.
Look at that low, long lunge that Mackenzie has to duke around people. Holy cow. What a legend. Oh, the refs are in the way. There we go. And a really sneaky, beautiful return there from D's Nuts. Coming in, allowing her tripod to create the blocking space for her to just sneak around and get through. Jammers are tricky like that. I didn't mean to say that. I was just so excited about that footwork and it just didn't quite pan out from Mackenzie.
No, the last foot there, the right foot landing out of bounds. And Mackenzie doing what we were talking about, yielding, taking themselves back to enter behind the skater that they didn't quite cover.
That was a 20-point jam for Auckland, though. That is pretty damn fine.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So that's what we would say is 5 scoring trips. Is that correct?
Yes.
Right. With 20 scoring.
Some good maths.
Points. Yep. Yeah. I do the maths sometimes. It's like year 7 level. Whoop, whoop.
Okay, good job you.
Yep. We do have a timeout going on. I don't know who asked for it.
We do have the Varsity bench coach talking to the refs in the middle.
Ooh.
And I did not see the call that happened before that, but there is
So there's a thing going on.
There were also a lot of people that I couldn't see what was going on, what the call was.
And I got distracted looking at the merch and the cool T-shirts.
If you are around and you are looking to come along, we are at Eltham Leisure Centre. And there is one beautiful shiny track all day today, and tomorrow I think tickets are $15 and $10 depending on what the sign says at the front.
That's right. It does depend. We will find out that information and bring it to you shortly. But if you're nowhere near us, if you're not in Victoria, if you're not near Melbourne or Eltham in particular, you can continue watching online all day.
And a big hello to any of the Auckland Roller Derby folks out there who may be back home watching and cheering for their buddies out here on the track. They're making you proud.
Hello, New Zealand.
And Dom is out for Varsity, taking the lead. Gorgeous. Look at that. Tara's out there, pivoting, has taken a star pass, and will be moving through as a jammer. And will be continuing as a jammer, as Dom has just received a cut track penalty. That's, I think, 3 penalties for Dom so far in the game in the first period. And Tara has beautiful footwork in that recovery, has been hit out to the inside line, but Tara's out there now for a minute 20. And that is the first of the passes.
And this would be the first time we're seeing Tara with a star on their head.
Yeah, absolutely.
Doing a fantastic job, taking the star as pivot originally in this jam.
She moves quite gently through the pack to keep herself safe. When you are a tall jammer, there are some, just like with shorter jammers, you need to really measure what your strengths will be for your height, weight, shape. And I often talk to skaters about that when I'm coaching, because when you are a tall person, you have to be mindful of those smaller people that you often earn back block penalties, or just like with shorter jammers, you often end up with low block penalties or blocking with the head. There's certain penalties that do attract different heighted people. Dom is back on track now though, and we still have 13 seconds of the jam. This could be the last trip for both of those jammers.
Dom squishing their way through.
It certainly looks like it. Dom is just resting right now. And both jammers on that trip coming out with 4 points. But Varsity coming out with 12 and Auckland on 8.
So yeah, Varsity slowly pulling away, I think, in most of these jams. So just a little bit more. So stacking on a few points at a time makes a big difference at the end of the game. We heard a bit of a countdown there from the Varsity pack, counting down to the start of the jam so they could collectively time their swish back to hold the skaters in place, hold the Auckland skaters in place.
Both teams very strong at staying in the thick of it. There's not a lot of solo blocking right out the front or right out the back.
From Varsity.
Really collaborative. Yep. Both teams are in amongst it. We do have Auckland out there for lead with Irish upon a star. And we have the helmet cover off for Mackenzie. And now they're out of the pack.
It's a good, I'm glad they've stopped here for a while, because we got to see the real pack separation from where Sin and I are sitting as commentators. I think most of that's been on the front side of the track, and to have it over here and see that really good pack maintenance from the inside blocker. I didn't catch their number, but that's really good track awareness. You guys at home can probably see that if we're following the action.
That is one of the penalties that seems to happen even in Div 1 when you watch the big kids play. The catch and send can sometimes create pack issues because you are then breaking the pack in a split way. That is a
very quick work.
That was
there
a beautiful fist pump there as Baker comes out the front with lead. And Dees Nuts has removed the helmet cover, although is only a quarter of a track away. And just in time. One to the sky.
Ooh. So that's one for Auckland, keeping Varsity down to
69.
0. And it is, Auckland is on a number. The number is 69. That resonates for some of us because we're cheeky little children and we think it's hilarious. But unfortunately, it's still early and people here have not noticed. No, we'll enjoy that ourselves and move on.
Yes. And we have Dom on track again. Jamming versus Mackenzie.
I've got to say, I'm really enjoying watching Dom skate. Just like effortless. Sorry, go on.
There's a lot of power in her stride, and she is a strong, strong blocker and a strong jammer.
Has an air of a ice hockey skater or something.
Correct. And looks like we have Baker on the track, jamming against Irish upon a star, ready to set it up.
Auckland still sitting at 69 points. That's right, 69 points. Nobody? Yay!
One's a beat for Dick, for Irish. And, yep, now out. And that certainly takes us to our half time between the teams. It looks like 111 to 69 with Varsity in the lead.
Absolutely, and so we now have 14 minutes and 40 seconds approximately for our little break. I'm going to go find some drink of some sort. Water, coffee perhaps. Too early for beer, I think. Maybe, we'll see. And we'll see you soon.
We'll be back in just a short time.
And we're back on the air and back with mics in front of our faces to make loud noises. I have a few messages while we're waiting for the jam to start. We do have Millie here who is giving massages for a fee, of course, not for free. I'd also like to make it known to let everybody know that we've called the track the Bazombie track this year in honour of Bazombie, who's been a huge influence on roller derby. There's a special force in our community. We are back with roller derby action happening. We've got an Auckland skater who is Mackenzie out in front with lead. Approaching the back of the pack at massive speed, taking out a Varsity skater, scoring some points and calling off the jam. I think that was 4. It was 3. That'll take them to 72. That's Auckland. We'll just leave your mic off. Sin, you don't need to talk. That's all right. I've got this. Good morning, guys. Good morning. Welcome to roller derby. Welcome to... Sin is still not online. That's fine. I've got this. We've got a full contingent of players on track. No one in the box. The back movement starting just at the beginning of the jam. Sin, are you with us?
I certainly am.
Welcome, Sin. Sin had lots of things to do during the break because Sin has other jobs like managing a league.
Not entirely.
There
are plenty of people taking care of that these days.
Obviously, yes. But one thing we talked about was looking at the penalties for each team. So we've got Varsity on 16 penalties in the first half and Auckland sitting on 8. So that's quite a difference, and that's where we did see Auckland making up the points. Varsity had more penalties, often the jammer, or sometimes the jammer going to the box, and Auckland sort of catching up. In the meantime, Varsity, though, has pulled away with some steady work, and we saw some of that steady work in this last jam
and
with
Dee's
8
nuts,
points.
When she's coming, when Dee's nuts comes through the pack, they really know how to look for those blockers, and they look for their own blockers and bounce off their own blockers,
Yeah.
and whether that blocker is setting up for an O opportunity or they are just standing there, Dee's nuts knows exactly how to get through that pack and uses their own blockers to be able to do it. It's beautiful. And Dom through for lead, followed by Mackenzie, not far away. 4D from Auckland, taking care of those edges.
And that'll be some points
And
there for Mackenzie
4.
as well, despite not being lead jammer in that instance. Is that right? Did I get that right? Yeah, Mackenzie was not lead.
Dom took a quick lead on the getting through in lane 4, I think it was, in the start of that jam, but...
Sorry, you guys at home and everyone here in the room did not see me laughing at Sin. I just, we say these names all the time, and so we think they're just regular names, but every so often you fall into actually hearing that Dee's nuts are coming through the pack. And
yeah,
I sort of got a little bit distracted. So I do enjoy these names.
I do as well, and beautiful partner blocking. I cannot ignore that. Look at that. Keeping those forearms out of the way, though. Good work. And that is lead. Great recycle by Varsity. Just when Baker looked like she was out.
Wow, yep. Baker's just taking her time, working out where the space is or where the space is going to be created.
Once again, Irish upon a star. The technique of these Varsity jammers, really, they know how to use the positioning of their own blockers. And I'm sure the blockers are very well practiced at creating these opportunities to maximise their jamming points. And a beautiful reset by Baker. I'm
just stuck right now, hypnotised, watching Baker from the behind the pack where we're sitting right now, rev themselves up.
And a big call from the bench coach to say release. And that was a 12-point jam for Varsity and 0 to Auckland. Full defence there.
Yep. Now, during this inter-jam break, someone else that I'd like to spruik is Liquid Gold Pinup, who are here today selling their merch. You can find them online as well, liquidgoldpinup.com.au. That's pin-up and rockabilly accessories and clothing for all sizes.
And Varsity through for lead. D's nuts. Now I'm just smiling when I'm saying it.
I like D's nuts. We've got also a massive thank you to our head ref, that's John Ref Kennedy, and our head NSO, Seafloor, both of them from Canberra, doing a brilliant job organising all the skaters, NSOs, refs, so we have enough people to enable the skating to take place.
Both of those officials have beards that are on point. I do not like to objectify my fellow roller derby folk.
But however, you will, yeah.
When it comes to beard precision, those two humans have got it covered. Dom is out for lead. And Auckland, we are still in the pack with Paradigm Stretch. All skaters are in the middle, in the thick of it, and driving. So very interesting. For if you didn't quite see what happened just then, there was a star class in process prior to the pass being completed. The pivot, who was standing in a beautiful position at the front of the pack, was ready to take it, but had just stepped their toe stop infield, which meant that they returned their skate inside, took the cover then, and then they were declared on a cut track penalty. The cut was performed prior to the star pass being complete, so they have gone to the box as a pivot and not as a jammer. If the order of that had happened slightly differently, they would have gone to the box as a jammer, but the pass was not complete at that time.
Good eyes. Good eyes.
I am a derby nerd.
Yes. Ooh. Yep, that's it. That's through. Dom is through after some exhausting work being smashed by lots of blockers.
Okay, the release call means that is a old school. We used to call it manning up, but that feels a bit outdated in 2012, doesn't it?
That's a what? Say again.
We used to call it manning up. Release, when Varsity call for release, what's happening is they go one-on-one on a different skater. Other teams, all teams call different things for the same action, but basically it means we're getting these points and then we're stopping it. Don't worry about where their jammer is. What we're going to do is collect for us and don't be a point for the opposition jammer. So either get up or do something, but do not linger back there. We're going to release it and we're just going to get those points and call.
Yep.
And the whole team is on board. You can see very clearly once the bench have made that call, every skater on the track went, we know exactly what to do.
Yes. To me, it sounded like something really dramatic had happened, like an attack, and then everybody ran for their lives because someone yelled and then everybody ran, sprinted. So it was very, they've obviously trained that well to react quickly.
Roller derby often looks like that. Someone says something and then everyone does something, and then it's up to everyone else to work out why and how that went.
Yes.
Because sometimes when you make a call like that, any call in roller derby from the bench or on the track, if everyone does it and it's wrong, oh well. But if everyone doesn't do it, it probably won't work anyway.
That's right, yeah.
And
better to fail as a team than fail as individuals.
I agree.
Yep. Well, and in fact, that's not even a failure. It's just part of the game, you know.
Oh, it is. When they come back to the bench, I'm like, that didn't work.
Yeah.
No. And we all laugh.
Yeah. And you start again.
And we
this
start
is
again.
the challenge in roller derby. You've got to get yourself back up and keep going.
Wheels on your feet, full contact sport. Every person out here is a little bit insane.
I would agree with that.
And we have Mackenzie out for lead. Pretty exciting. Irish has taken the star cover off, but still made it through the pack successfully. And that is a hit it and quit it jam for Auckland. We're sitting on 159 for Varsity and 80 for Auckland. It's a 4-0 jam, 21 minutes to go for those who do not have the feed on their screen.
Yes, I agree with the screaming that's coming from track. Probably the skaters are a little bit more enthusiastic, revved up with the adrenaline. I've got coffee as my substitute. Oh, a very long run up for our two jammers today. One taking the inside line, lane 1, and Baker or Mackenzie taking the line on the outside, coming to the inside.
I did not have eyes on that, but 3-8. D's nuts. Is lead.
Yes.
Just made a really clean pass straight through the pack. 3 blockers on track for Auckland. Time to make a decision. Are we offence? Are we defence? And release means let go of everything and just get those points. There we go. The release call is happening from the bench regardless of, in lots of different places on the track. So just then the jammer was still in the pack, and the call for release is let their jammer go and finish collecting our points, and then we'll call it.
Right. So
and
that was an instruction from the bench for that. Yeah. Because I was watching the Auckland jammer then, thinking, they're exhausted. They have to get through the pack to pressure the other team to call the jam. And it feels like a waste because you get through and then the points, then the jam is called and there's no points opportunity. But you're also putting the pressure on the other jammer to call, or the other team to call the jam, and limiting their points.
Strategically at different times of the game, and when you're at this point, so you're in the second period and you're 10 minutes into the second period, so you've got your 20 to go, and you need to measure the health, fitness, welfare, fatigue of your team, and the type of call that you might make at the start of the game might be different from at this time of the game as well. Once you've established what your opposition strengths and weaknesses might be, and you know who you might be able to match up in terms of jammer or packs or different combinations, and the later it gets in the game, the more you have to assess your jammer health and fitness, and same with your packs as well. Because we manage any niggles, any injuries.
Yeah, because you can definitely see it at this stage of the game. Skaters are slightly less clean, slightly less dynamic. They're tired. They've been working super hard.
That was a timely call-off, actually, from Varsity. A kind call-off. The Auckland jammer had a massive hit to the guts, I would say, there. That really hurt. And having a moment to breathe and regroup.
Jam starting on
Irish,
the far side.
Irish and Baker.
Yeah.
Oh,
nice, lovely, easy almost.
Irish upon a star is great with the last ditch. We haven't seen much runaway in this game at all.
Oh, wow, yeah, fast pack for the first time.
Varsity just want to be up. We've got a ref down. We had a skater down. Right now, the Varsity skater at the back does not want to become a point. And a call off 0-0. Varsity are slightly changing their tack with this section of the game. They've got a bit of a different approach.
I think everybody enjoyed that fast skate. I think you need it sometimes after you've been sort of stuck. It's like a stretch of the legs.
It is a little lovely stretch. I'm sure that's exactly what they had in mind. Hey everyone, let's all have a stretch.
We just need to stretch. Have you seen this? Have you seen this sort of drastic change in tactic from a team before?
Yes. Yes, I have.
Great open-ended question there.
And yes, I like to make it difficult by guessing what that might have looked like. But I think when you this is in line, I would say, with how you measure
massive fallout on the front of the pack that might have involved a ref. Actually, couldn't quite see.
It's again, sometimes you change tack because you might lose a skater at one point, or someone might need a breather. So we're going to play these next couple of jams a little bit differently, and we'll try for this action what it might be.
Yeah, definitely provides some reprieve.
And the jam is on. Look at that line work. Bit of jammer on jammer action. And now a bit of old school, we would call it eat the baby. I don't think we encourage eating babies anymore.
But I think that was the baby trying to grab a second bite, because I think that was Baker waiting for the pack instead of pulling away. I think Baker made eyes at a Varsity blocker and was like, I'm going to take you out.
So the two jammers at the front of the pack, jammer on jammer, Baker makes a strike, Baker goes out, but then Baker can't risk being caught by the opposition as that pack is speeding up and everyone's coming to collect those jammers. They would still be on their initial pass.
Right, of course.
So they've still got to get out of that again. Yeah. Even though they were 20 feet out the front, they're still not up to their...
That's right, they've been brought back in.
They're not scoring yet. But there was a great moment between the jammer ref for Auckland and the jammer for Auckland, where when the jammer came out of the pack, she looked up and just went, I don't think I cut, but maybe I did. Do I take this risk or not? And then it was working out just fine. Still 0-0 jams, but very funny moment between. It's beautiful when a jammer and the jammer ref look at each other, and the jammer ref cannot coach or help. Can't say, yep, you're good. You just have to wait.
Just sorry eyes. Yep, you're on your own, mate. So
the change that we're seeing right now is Varsity have sped the game up.
Absolutely, very drastically as well. It's not a subtle change.
Yeah, their packs are just moving rather than getting in that slow grind. Maybe they do need a stretch.
Oh, great hit from Tara.
Oh,
another good one.
Came in like a wrecking ball. And earns Auckland lead.
I think this is perhaps the sort of gameplay that suits Tara's blocking style, because this is like a more open pack, faster moving skaters, and Tara can now use their movement across the track to just take people out.
Strong stuff.
I've got to say, it might be the old fighter in me, the old martial artist, but I really do like seeing people get taken out. Or maybe it's just everyone. Maybe it's just a funniest home video style thing, but it indicates good timing, tactics, speed, body movement, which we see in the rest of the game, obviously, in different ways. I really enjoy it. Anyway, on track, we had a little bit of a comeback there from Auckland with 8 points on the board.
It was a great jam for Auckland, that one.
Still a really big points differential in this game, with Varsity on 178 and Auckland on 92. But I actually think Varsity might have changed the pace, but I think I don't want to say to Auckland's favour, but certainly suiting Auckland a little bit.
The score difference may be quite large, but watching the game, as often is the case, the Auckland Jammers are still very successful, and they're getting out of the pack close to the Varsity Jammers a lot of the time. But they tend to get stuck on their first scoring trip, and that is because Varsity are very strong at the reset and regrouping to prepare for that.
Yeah.
Whereas what Auckland are doing on the first scoring trip is they are often still getting their jammer out, or they don't make a reset that is in a position that is far enough away from Varsity for them to be able to maintain their defensive strike. Irish upon a star out the front for Varsity. Baker's still in the pack. And a successful star pass has gone over to Paradigm Stretch. Once again, you see the arms drop down and you see blocker on blocker creating pressure against themselves.
Yep,
and
that
stretching
transition.
out.
Sorry, go on.
And stretching it out. Baker holds position. Baker is not injured, but holds position to make sure that the next move is safe.
Well, yeah, my heart skipped a beat there, but that was good turtle falling.
And a cut track penalty issued for Auckland's jammer. They will return to the track in this jam. There is still a time for them.
They may have returned to the track, but unfortunately...
Made a liar out of me. That's okay. I certainly called that too soon. The advantage, though, that Auckland do have is their pivot that is in the box. Their jammer that's in the box right now is their pivot, but also does jam for the team, is one of their jammers. So at least that skater can remove the pivot cover, as they are right now, and they just go on as a jammer starting from the box. And lead is available, and you can get lead returning from the box to the track. So if D's Nuts is unsuccessful, then we will still be eligible for lead for Auckland. Beautiful partner blocking. Good reset of Auckland.
Good reform, yep.
Great. And smart not running the team back too far, because when you run jammers back too far, sometimes you can't always get them, especially when there's 8 minutes left in the game. Staying together is often better than separating yourselves, and they're making some smart decisions. They have expired the full 30 seconds of the Auckland Jammers penalty from the start of that jam before lead was declared, which is a fantastic result. D's Nuts has been very successful in this game.
And there was a lot of offense coming from the Varsity team. There was a lot of smashing coming sideways across the track. So really good effort there from Auckland. We'll see what happens now with the jammers coming up.
Wow, that
going
was
to continue.
That was that's a dream pass, really, for Mackenzie, wasn't it?
It was like just a duck and
no one touched her.
Yep.
And that was a scoring trip. 8-4. And it's 196 to 102 with Varsity in the lead.
One more plug for this game. We've got Proud Minority also here selling an amazing array of merchandise. Proud Minority is a queer and trans owned and ethically made shop that also have stuff available online.
Also, just a further note to Ninja's comment before, each year Rebellion honour and celebrate different skaters from different leagues and different people who have contributed to roller derby, and we name tracks after these particular heroes of our sport, and each year we name a track after someone who's made an incredible and lasting impact on our sport. This year the Rebellion track is named in the honour of Bazombi, which is number 13. Bez was a cherished member of Ballarat Roller Derby League and the Victorian Roller Derby community. She played for such a long time, and for some of us, we were in lots of mix-up teams together and had lots of beautiful experiences. She touched our hearts over many years and brought us so much joy and laughter. And if you check out the Rebellion page on Facebook, you will see a beautiful photo of Bez taking her high fives at the end of a game. And that photo is brought to you by Lisa Kenny Photography, one of the many photographers that take care of capturing the incredible moments of our sport. And we have some photographers here today as well, but I'd just like to take this moment to say, Bez, what a legend. I'm glad that I knew you.
Thanks, Sin. Yep.
And team timeout is now over. That timeout was called by Varsity.
Yeah. Always had a smile on her face.
Yeah.
Like, what a character.
Yeah.
What a character. Sorry, back to Derby. Thanks. That's Dom taking it. Hey, can you get him? Can you up? Yeah.
And we have Dom out the front for lead with Varsity.
Oh, Dom making very light work.
Dropping those arms is so essential when you're forming your tripod, so Dom was no match for that defensive tripod in that moment. Baker out there living her best life. Not scoring points, but still smiling about it. And with 6 minutes left in the game, it does look like the outcome is known. However, Fantasy Derby might happen.
Yep, it's true.
So optimistic.
It's a possibility. It's very, very unlikely. But 12 possible jams, let's say.
I'm a dreamer.
8 points.
And look at Auckland out the front right now.
8 points.
What a legend, Mackenzie.
12 jams. You could do it. Wait, my maths isn't quite right. Anyway.
Auckland consistently back it up tournament to tournament by having a 3-rotation jammer, sometimes just 2. They use their jammers as pivots, and they are on almost every jam. They are an incredibly fit team. And they are quite fierce, quite unified. And called off just in the nick of time for 0 points for Varsity. We have officials here from all over the country. Perth, Adelaide, Canberra, Melbourne.
Shortly I'll get a list of all of their names so we can thank them individually.
Tasmania,
definitely Tasmania. Thank you to Hawkeye though.
That was a quick lead from D's Nuts. And we have Baker jamming. Lovely edge work. What a beautiful bounce that is for D's Nuts just at the side there. And that was a 0 jam for Auckland and 8 for Varsity.
Just a reminder, if you are watching online, our stream, if you're anywhere nearby, we are located at the Eltham Leisure Centre. We will be here all day playing excellent derby. This is Rebellion 2019. This is what, the third year it's been in Melbourne, I think?
I
Ish.
feel like this is one of those moments where we should do research. I feel
Yep.
like I've been doing Rebellion for a very long
But
time.
Rebellion before that was located in Bendigo, a fantastic tournament. And on track,
We've had a
Mackenzie.
star pass. A star pass for Varsity to Spanky. This is the first time we've seen Spanky with the helmet cover with the star on it for... I really
about
wanted them,
10 seconds.
I really wanted them to run that.
Yeah.
I want to know what happens next.
Yeah.
It's a tricky decision sometimes if you run it or don't run it. At the moment, Auckland don't really have anything to lose if they wanted to sort of push through and run an opposition pivot that they haven't seen. But
I guess
skater,
it depends if you're looking at minimising that score differential or keeping it as low as possible.
Absolutely.
But I don't really know how the stats work these days, if 100 points is going to make much of a difference compared to 120 or 80.
It depends on... there's a lot
There's a lot of algorithms, right?
There's a few moving parts.
There's some maths.
I am not a mathematician.
No, but on track, we can look at the skaters, and we've got Varsity straight through. That's
And we've got
007 Puss.
And I don't believe we've seen Puss Puss jamming. So I think Varsity are trying out. Again, this time of the game, we have a new jammer out there for the first time, and they're trying out someone who they can afford to put out and see how they go. And they're performing beautifully.
That's right. It's a great opportunity when you're ahead so far to give some skaters some experience in areas that they perhaps don't otherwise function in. Pressure's off, and Puss Puss is doing really well. That is the second scoring trip.
8 points so far. Still holding Auckland. It has been a star pass for Auckland though, so we do have a pivot, but it feels like it's not really a pivot. They're jammers. Unfortunately though, we have seen Baker go to the penalty box for a forearms called by an OPR. And that was on the Varsity jammer.
I was going to start talking about the Auckland jammer, but I couldn't see them inside the squishy pack. So that was very tightly held pack there.
Also, fantastic, very smart call off by Varsity, because now they have a jammer in the box as a blocker without a pivot cover on. So right now we have Baker needing to return as a regular blocker who won't be able to affect any kind of pivot roll. So Tara has the pivot cover on, not that unusual. Tara has pivoted. And we have Mackenzie out as lead jammer. Varsity maybe getting a little tired, and Irish upon a star, a bit more than half a track behind now, so whether Mackenzie calls it or not. And trusting their blockers to be able to hold that jammer for a bit longer. Beautiful. We've got 4 blockers on for Auckland, so 4D. And beautiful work. Watching the clock right now, there's like 15 seconds left of the period and a minute left in the jam. With Auckland as lead, they just can't go wrong. They really need to run this out and get as many points as possible. There's still time for a timeout. And
No,
the period is called. And that is Varsity 231 points to Auckland 122.
Wow. Really, really strong, powerful work there from Varsity. Varsity skaters today were Puss Puss, White Russian, Dom, Spanky, Educator, Sax Bomb, A Whole Lot of Trouble, Ginger Ale, D's Nuts, Hot Blocks, Tez, Reaper, and Irish upon a star. And the skaters for the Auckland Roller Derby League, Paradigm Stretch, Benedicta, Venus Thigh Trap, Grim Scary Tales, Steve, McDonald, Baker, Terra Satana, MC Slammer, Resident Evil, Wheezy, and Mackenzie.
What a terrific game, and thank you very much for having us commentate your first game. I'm Cinnamon Whip.
I'm Ninja Hurdle, and shortly we'll have Northside Rollers versus Southsea Roller Derby. Good luck, Sin.
Off we go.